I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the subtraction of item F and item H. I believe that they're not ready to go tonight.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Second,
Second.
any discussion?
Remove which ones again?
We're going to remove the
F and
food
H.
service policy updates based on the food service audit, as well as H, review revised Northwest Iceman hockey agreement.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. There are no student, staff, and community recognitions tonight, so we'll be moving on to item B, which is the referendum update.
A number of behind-the-scenes items to update you on regarding the proposed referendum this afternoon. CISA 10 is working on the final draft of a referendum update newsletter, and that's a brief newsletter that will contain information about the history of the referendum effort, description of the proposed projects, give some information about the school perceptions survey, and then information about the community walkthroughs that will be provided at Spooner Elementary and Spooner Middle School. The timeline is this newsletter will be mailed and it will go out to all addresses in the district as the school perception survey will. This will go out the last week of August. On the topic of the community walkthroughs, dates for two community walkthroughs have been scheduled. The Spooner Middle School will be Tuesday, September 10th at 6 p.m. The Spooner Elementary School walkthrough will be Thursday, September 12th, also at 6 p.m. And the intent of the community walkthroughs are to provide members of the public the opportunity to see the buildings, get a view of the proposed projects, get answers to questions they may have, and to share potential solutions for some of the challenges that are faced. SDS, which is the architecture and engineering firm that the board approved last month, is finishing the pricing update on the proposed projects, and they've indicated that they will have that update complete by the end of this week. And working with school perceptions, the plan continues to be that you will have the survey questions in draft form at your August regular meeting on August 19th. So those will be available and you'll have a chance to review them and provide input. And Luke Schultz and I have our next coordination call with school perceptions next week, Tuesday, August 13th. And at that point, they will have the updated price information of the projects to include in the survey. So lots of behind the scenes activities taking place at this point, leading up to some of the big key elements like the school perception survey, which will ultimately take place early in October.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. On the survey, do we know, that's going to be able to be completed in paper form, or is that going to be electronically, or both?
Yes, it'll be both. People will receive it in paper form and have the ability to do it online if they so choose.
All right, and then my second question is, they would be able to do it, this won't be one of those where they can do it repeatedly.
Nope, they'll be able to do one per household.
Okay, that was the answer to my other question. Thank you.
I have a question also. The August 19th, when the board sees the questions, are we going to be able to see those questions prior to that meeting, or will it just be presented to us at that meeting?
I can't speak to that. I don't know for sure, Mr. Johnson.
That would be my, I don't know, does that mean that we're going to be approving them?
You'll review the questions and provide feedback. The questions will be in draft form in August. During your September meeting, you'll vote to approve the final draft of the survey.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, any other questions? Okay, we'll move on then to item C, the updated safety plan. Mrs. Hanson?
So not only do you have the updated safety plan as part of your board packet, but there's also just a list of changes to hopefully make it a little easier. I did try to highlight all the changes all the way through. Most are pretty incidental. Nothing really changes any of the meanings of things. There's basically kind of 4 elements that prompted all these changes. So one was the standard response protocol that you guys adopted last month. So that was just kind of incorporating that throughout the plan. The other one was in conversation with the county emergency manager, Carol Buck. She had several suggestions in going through that. Again, not changing really any of the content, just kind of making it coordinate more with what the county has in place, so the verbiage lines up a little better there. So taking on those suggestions, as well as incorporating the Wisconsin DPI trainings, making sure that we're current with that, and putting in new lingo and different links in the safety plan so that's current, as well as the new Department of Justice requirements. So those are the main things. Other things are just kind of cleaning up and consolidating, making sure there's not, formatting issues and stuff like that. So nothing real major there, but going forward, we're hoping to just have this as the DOJ requires it every 3rd year, so we won't be seeing this every year. So that's the hope. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This document alone just gives me so much peace, I think, knowing that you have an outline for any situation that our staff may face, and a plan and a policy and a procedure to follow. And it takes the pressure off the individuals more so, I think, in those moments, and gives them some direction. And it's very important. And it's 80 some pages. It's very long and lots of work went into it. So we appreciate all of those on that committee, and thank you, Mrs. Hanson, for the work that you did on that. All right, we'll move on then. So I guess we need consensus to move that to the regular board meeting in August. Do we have consensus?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to item D, which is the overnight and out-of-state field trip request for FFA. This is also.
So this is my annual plea to take my kids to National FFA Convention. This year, again, it will be in Indianapolis, Indiana. I hope to take 3 or 4 students and myself. This year, actually, we have received a gold on our National Chapter Award application, so we should have a student crossing the national stage. In addition, we had a state winner for sheep proficiency, so that individual's application has gone on for judging at the national level, so that person may also be crossing that national stage. So we have some really cool things happening, so hopefully we'll have that opportunity, as we have done for several years in the past. So, okay. Questions, anyone? Thank you.
Last year, I think you gave a
Thank you.
report later on in the school year.
Last year we didn't.
Last
get
year
one.
didn't,
It was
2 years ago.
We tried to last year, but the timing was not good. So many of my kids are also involved in athletics.
Sure.
And Monday nights are kind of tough for kids that are in sports, but we have a PowerPoint from last year.
Okay, so if it works out sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Neat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any discussion on this? Do we have consensus to move it forward to the regular board meeting?
Yes.
Yes. All right, thank you. We'll be skipping item F and moving on to G, which is the reviewing of the Dean of Student. Oh, thanks. I missed E, Neola Policy Updates, Volume 28, Number 2. Is someone going to speak to that?
So a large volume of updates, and Caitlin has provided a summary sheet, which would be the first document in your attachments. And at this point, maybe we open it up for questions on any of the policies.
Do was a lot to go through. The summary page was very helpful, knowing which were updates, which were new. But does anyone have any questions on any particular policies? Okay. I was just going to ask, so the 5460, that is going to more staff input, so it'll be brought back to us at a later date. Do you know? I looked.
Yes, that's a piece that the building principals have at this point, and they'll be working with their staffs when they return to work to get some more input on that.
Okay. Sounds good. Do we have consensus then to move it for the first reading at the August board meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Now we'll skip F. Move on to the review of the Dean of Students, psychologist, counselor, social worker, media specialist, district nurse, and community education job descriptions. Again, we've been getting these every month, a new batch to look over and go through. Does anyone have any questions on these at this point? No? All right, do we have consensus to move them forward? Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Item H, we'll be skipping. We're waiting on some revisions for that agreement. Item I is a 30, 60, 90-day planning cycle.
So a number of things on the short end of that planning cycle as we're into the month of August. So what would we call it? The revised or newly re-implemented Rails Express, the district newsletter is in its final draft form, and that will be going out to box holders the third week of August. So that's exciting, and kudos to Kristen Tischer for her good work on that. I think you're going to find that it's just a very well done newsletter, and I'm confident that people in the community are going to find some great information within it. So that's exciting. As I mentioned in a earlier item, CISA 10 is working on a referendum update newsletter, and that's separate from the Rails Express, and that will go out the fourth week of August. We have back to school work week from Monday, August 26th through Thursday, August 29th, so the staff will all be back. And our first day of school is Tuesday, September 3rd.
We'll be here before we know it. Does anyone else have anything to add for the 30, 60, 90-day planning? All right. We'll move on then to item J, which is the financial update.
The board was provided with the June financial update. I won't go through it, but if there's questions, I can answer some. As far as closing out fiscal 18-19, our audit did get bumped back to August 20th and 21st per the auditors. They had asked for an extension on that. For a year-end stance, we haven't changed from where we were last month, so we are still looking at falling in that range that we were looking at between about 75 and 100,000, dipping into fund balance. So we don't anticipate that changing at all. And once the audit is complete, we'll have a better picture of where we end up.
Just to reiterate for our viewing audience, did you think that the projection of 75,000 to 100,000 would end up being our deficit for this fiscal year ending this summer?
Yep, for 18-19. So that's where we anticipated going into the year, and we don't anticipate it being, and from our perspective now, when the auditors come in, they might find something that gets shifted between years, because when June 30th closes, we have outstanding receipts that are coming in and outstanding invoices going out, so there might be some shifting. So there might be some numbers, but we don't anticipate anything large enough to take us or bring us back from.
And I know we don't have the new budget yet, but I'm sure it's being worked on. What do you think the projections would be for next year?
Well, we brought the preliminary budget to the board in April as a balanced budget. Since then, we've encountered a few items, so we're still working backwards with those items. I anticipate that we probably could have an updated budget for the September board meeting.
Okay, but we don't, you're not going to speculate as to what that projection is targeted to be?
No, in fact, we just had something else that Dave and I had to chat about today, so that needs to be factored in as well. Another item at the high school here with our boilers. So Dave and I will be discussing that and bringing it to the board.
Okay, keep us posted.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Thank you. All right, we'll be moving on to the approval of vouchers, item K. Were there any questions or concerns about the vouchers? Do we have consensus to move that forward to the August board meeting?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. That's all we have for you tonight. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Kevin's not here for it. He just keeps sitting.
Stay involved.